I had the appointment circled on my calendar for 8 weeks. A specialist consultation, not the kind you reschedule. The referral alone had taken 4 months. My primary care doctor had flagged something during routine blood work. Nothing alarming, but enough to warrant follow-up with an endocrinologist. The earliest available slot was late March. I took a personal day from work, paid the $50 non-refundable processing fee, and filled out 12 pages of medical history forms. I'm careful about these things. I show up on time. I read instructions. I don't cancel unless I'm hospitalized. That's just how I operate. At work, in my personal life, everywhere. It's probably why I've been promoted twice in 3 years, and why my landlord renewed my lease without raising rent. Reliability isn't flashy, but it builds a life. My mother called on a Tuesday afternoon, 3 days before the appointment. "I need you to take your brother to Connor's house on Friday," she said. No greeting, just the assignment. Connor lived an hour north. My brother, 24 and fully licensed, didn't like highway merging. Made him nervous, apparently. My mother had her own car, a sedan she'd bought new 2 years ago, but she had book club that afternoon and shouldn't have to rearrange her schedule. I explained about the appointment, the wait time, the fee, the fact that it couldn't be moved without starting the referral process over. "Then move it," she said, as if I hadn't just explained why that wasn't possible. I tried logic first. I always do. "Mom, I can't cancel this. It's been scheduled since January. If I reschedule, I lose the deposit and go back to the end of the wait list. That's another 4 months minimum." Silence on her end, the kind that means she's not listening, just waiting for me to finish so she can continue. "Your brother needs a ride," she said. "Connor's expecting him. He can take an Uber, or you can drive him after book club, or he can reschedule." I kept my voice even, reasonable. This is a medical appointment, not a preference. That's when her tone shifted. "You've always been selfish," she said. "Ever since you moved out, you think you're too good to help this family." I lived 20 minutes away. I had my own apartment, paid my own bills, managed my own life. I helped when I could, but I'd learned long ago that helping in my family meant being available at all times for things that didn't require me at all. I'm not being selfish. I'm keeping an appointment I made 2 months ago. "This is exactly what I'm talking about." Her voice climbed. "Your brother is important too. He matters, but you don't care about anyone but yourself." I heard my brother in the background, faint but audible. "Just let it go, Mom." Not let her go, let it go. As in, drop the demand. But he wasn't arguing with her. He was bored. She escalated. Told me I was ruining her day, that I'd always put myself first, that family was supposed to support each other. I pointed out that support goes both directions. She told me I was being difficult. I reminded her that a $250 financial and medical cost was not equivalent to a social visit that could happen any other day. "Come to the house," she finally said. "We'll talk about this in person." I should have said no. I thought if I explained it face to face, she'd understand. That's the part I regret most. Believing clarification would matter. She was standing in the entryway when I arrived. My brother sat in the living room, controller in hand, game paused on the TV. He glanced up when I walked in, but didn't move. "I'm not canceling," I said before she could start. "You can drive him, or he can get a ride another way. I'm keeping my appointment." Her face changed. I've seen her frustrated before, irritated, dismissive. This was different. This was rage without a buffer. "You don't get to tell me no." "I'm not telling you no. I'm telling you I have a conflict I can't move." She stepped forward. "You think you're so independent now. So important." "I think my health matters as much as a video game hangout." That's when she hit me. Not a single slap. 3, 4. Hard enough that my head snapped to the side and my ear started ringing. I tasted metal. My vision blurred at the edges, just for a moment, and I staggered back against the door frame. Ungrateful, she said, each word punctuated with another hit. I raised you. I sacrificed. And this is what I get. My brother stood up from the couch. Mom. But he didn't move toward us. He just stood there, controller still in his other hand. I didn't fight back, didn't yell. I just turned and left. My face throbbed. My ears felt like they were underwater. I got to my car, sat in the driver's seat, and waited for my hands to stop shaking enough to turn the key. Then I took out my phone and started taking pictures. I went to the appointment. My right cheek had a visible mark by then, reddish purple beginning to swell. The receptionist noticed but didn't ask. I deflected when my doctor paused during the exam. Caught a cabinet door, I said. She nodded, but her eyes lingered a moment too long. The appointment itself went fine. Thyroid levels slightly off, nothing urgent, follow-up in 6 months. I answered questions, scheduled the next visit, paid my copay, functioned exactly as I always do, even with the side of my face still tender and my thoughts splintering every time I remembered my brother just standing there. I didn't contact my family for 2 days. On the second night, my brother texted, "Mom's really upset. You should apologize." I read it 3 times, turned the phone face down, picked it up again an hour later, and started searching. Assault laws in my state, domestic violence statutes, family court procedures, restraining order requirements. And I called a friend who'd been through something similar years ago. She listened without interrupting, then said, "You know this isn't normal, right?" I did. Somewhere under the years of conditioning, I knew. But hearing someone else say it out loud made it real in a way my own thoughts couldn't. The next morning, I went to an urgent care clinic, told them I'd been hit in the head, had experienced brief disorientation and ringing in my ears. They documented everything, took photos, ran a concussion protocol, gave me paperwork that included the words blunt force trauma to the face and consistent with assault. I kept all of it, the texts, the voicemails, the medical report. I saved my brother's message, the one that made it clear whose side he'd chosen. And I made a decision, not revenge, protection. 3 days after the incident, my mother sent a text. "I'm sorry you made me so angry. Family doesn't hold grudges. Let's move on." Not, "I'm sorry I hit you. Sorry I made her angry." As if I'd done the assaulting. My brother messaged separately, his tone half annoyed, half pleading. "She's your mother. She loves you. Just let it go." Then my aunt called. She'd heard there was an argument and wanted to make sure I was being reasonable. Her exact words, reasonable. As if there's a reasonable response to being struck in the face multiple times by the person who raised you. I responded once. I kept it simple. Assault is not discipline. I will not resume contact without accountability. My mother's reply came within an hour. "You've always been dramatic. I barely touched you. If you're going to act like this, don't bother coming around." I blocked her number, blocked my brother, blocked everyone who'd sent a message implying I needed to forgive and forget. I contacted a legal advocate the same day, explained the situation, provided the evidence. She walked me through the process for filing a protective order, what I'd need, what to expect, how long it would take. I filed the paperwork that week but didn't serve it immediately. I waited, watched, documented every attempt at contact, because they didn't stop. My mother tried calling from different numbers, left voicemails that swung wildly from tearful to hostile. My brother sent messages through mutual acquaintances. My aunt showed up at my apartment unannounced, asking why I was doing this to the family. I didn't waver. I'd spent years accommodating, adjusting, sacrificing. I was done. Turns out, boundaries feel a lot like betrayal to people who benefit from you having none. 2 weeks after I went no contact, my mother showed up at my workplace. I work in an office building with a reception desk and security protocols. She didn't get past the lobby, but she tried. The receptionist called me to say someone was asking for me, described her, and I told them I didn't want contact. They asked her to leave. She refused for a solid 10 minutes, insisting it was a family emergency before security escorted her out. HR was notified. I filed an internal report. The incident was documented with a timestamp and a witness statement from the front desk staff. That same evening, my phone lit up with texts, not from her, she was still blocked, but from a number I didn't recognize. The messages alternated between apologies and accusations. I just want to talk to you. You're being cruel. I'm your mother. You can't treat me like this. Then my brother called from his own phone, which I hadn't blocked yet. He told me our mother had been worried sick, that I was being unreasonable, that she just wanted to see me. She's telling everyone you had a breakdown, he said, that you attacked her and now you're making up stories. I didn't argue. I just asked him if he was there when she hit me. Silence. You were, I said. You watched. You did nothing. And now you're calling to defend her. He hung up. A few days later, my landlord left a message saying someone had been asking about my schedule, when I left for work, when I usually came home. He didn't give out any information, but he wanted me to know. I thanked him, documented it, and added it to the file I was building. My coworkers started noticing too. One mentioned seeing a woman in the parking lot who seemed to be waiting for someone. Another asked if everything was okay at home. I deflected, but internally I noted every incident. Each one became another page in the case I was constructing. What my mother didn't realize was that every time she tried to force her way back into my life, she was making my argument for me. My brother contacted me directly after that. No intermediaries this time. Just a blunt message demanding I fix this. She's driving me insane, he wrote. She's snapping at me constantly, asking me to do everything you used to do. I can't take it. You need to apologize and move on. I read the message twice. He wasn't concerned about me. He was annoyed that his convenience had been disrupted. I called him. He answered on the first ring. You want me to fix this? I said. Yes. Here's how. You tell her what she did was wrong. You support me in requiring an actual apology and changed behavior. You stop enabling her. You can't be serious. I am. She's our mother. You're acting like she's some kind of monster. She hit me hard enough that I saw stars. You were there. You watched. She was upset. So it's okay to assault people if you're upset? That's not what Look, you've always been jealous of me. Admit it. You can't stand that she cares about me. I felt something shift. The last thread of whatever connection we'd had snapped cleanly. You have one option, I said. Support accountability or accept that we're done. You're really going to throw away your family over this? You already did. You just didn't notice. He chose her. I wasn't surprised. What I didn't expect was what he said next. You know she used to do this when we were kids, right? Lock you in your room for hours, ignore you for days. I just thought that was normal. I didn't realize. He stopped himself, but it was too late. He'd confirmed what I'd always suspected. This wasn't new. It was just the first time I'd refused to accept it. I saved the call recording, added it to the file, and moved forward. I filed for a restraining order the following week. The petition cited assault, documented with medical records and photographs, stalking behavior, supported by witness statements from my workplace and landlord, harassment, evidenced by the barrage of messages and attempted contact after I'd clearly requested none. The court scheduled a hearing. My mother was served at home. My brother was there when it happened, according to the process server's notes. Her response came through a family group message I'd forgotten to leave. I saw it later, forwarded by the one cousin who'd quietly reached out to say she believed me. How dare she involve the courts? I'm her mother. This is what she does to family? My brother replied in the thread, "This is insane. She's lost it." Extended family piled on. Aunts, uncles, even a grandmother I hadn't spoken to in years. All of them outraged that I'd taken a private family matter to legal authorities. I responded once in writing and had my cousin screenshot it before I left the group for good. Assault against family is unforgivable. I simply documented it. Then I focused on preparation. I met with a legal advocate twice before the hearing. We organized everything: time-stamped photographs showing the progression of bruising, the urgent care report detailing injuries consistent with being struck, security footage from my office building showing my mother's attempt to access the premises, written statements from the receptionist and my landlord, a log of every message and call attempt. The hearing was set for 3 weeks out. I used that time to build a case that didn't rely on emotion or he said, she said. Just facts, dates, evidence. The law, I realized, doesn't care if your abuser gave birth to you. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Fluorescent lights, wooden benches, a bailiff standing near the judge's bench. My mother arrived with my brother and 2 people I vaguely recognized from her church. Character witnesses, presumably. She wore a cardigan and a pained expression, the picture of a misunderstood woman wronged by her ungrateful child. I sat on the opposite side with my advocate and the friend who'd seen my face the day after. I dressed professionally, brought a folder with the tabbed sections, kept my expression neutral. The judge reviewed the petition first, then asked me to present my case. I walked through it methodically, showed the photos, each one timestamped within an hour of the assault, submitted the medical report, played a voicemail where my mother's voice escalated from pleading to threats within 90 seconds, presented the security log from my office. "Your mother attempted to access your workplace?" the judge asked. "Yes, Your Honor. 2 weeks after I requested no contact. Security had to escort her out. I filed a report with HR." The judge made a note. My mother's turn came next. Her attorney, she'd hired one, tried to frame it as a misunderstanding between family members. My mother testified that I'd been disrespectful, that she'd only been trying to guide me, that the marks on my face were exaggerated. "I barely touched her," she said. "She's always been sensitive." The judge looked at the medical report, then at the photos, then back at her. "You're saying these injuries are exaggerated?" My mother hesitated. "I may have reacted, but she provoked me." "By refusing to cancel a medical appointment?" Silence. The judge asked about the workplace incident. My mother claimed she just wanted to talk. The judge asked why she didn't call. My mother said I'd blocked her. The judge asked why she thought appearing at my workplace was appropriate after being told I didn't want contact. She didn't have an answer that sounded reasonable. My brother testified briefly, said our mother had been upset, but that I was overreacting. The judge asked if he'd witnessed the assault. He admitted he had, asked what he'd done. He said he'd told her to stop. "From across the room?" the judge asked, reading the statement I'd provided. My brother faltered. The hearing lasted 40 minutes. The judge granted a restraining order for 2 years. No contact. No third-party contact. 100 yards minimum distance from my home and workplace. Violation would result in immediate arrest and potential jail time. My mother stared at the judge in disbelief. My brother looked at the floor. I felt nothing, just a deep, tired relief. The family fractured predictably. Some went silent. Others sent messages, never to me directly, but through the cousin who'd stayed in touch, expressing disappointment that I'd taken it this far. A few, very quietly, reached out to say they understood. My brother sent a message through someone else, violating the spirit of the restraining order, if not the letter. It was forwarded to me with a note. "Thought you should see this. She destroyed Mom. I hope she's happy." I documented it, didn't respond. My mother tried to contact me twice in the first month, once through a fake social media account that used a misspelled version of a common name, once through a letter mailed to my apartment with no return address. I reported both, added them to the file. I blocked everyone except my cousin, updated my emergency contacts, rewrote my will and healthcare proxy to remove my mother and brother entirely. And I went to therapy. Twice a week at first, then weekly. Worked through the conditioning, the guilt, the reflexive belief that I was the problem. My therapist asked me once what I wanted from all this. Nothing from them, I said. Just to be left alone. It took months before that felt true. The first holiday season without them was strange. I'd always spent Thanksgiving at my mother's house, endured the comments about my choices, my job, my life. That year, I went to my friend's Friendsgiving instead, brought a pie, laughed until my sides hurt, left feeling lighter than I had in years. I mourned them, not who they were, but who I needed them to be. That loss was real, even if the relationship never had been. 6 months after the restraining order was granted, my mother violated it. A package arrived at my apartment. My name, my address, no return label. Inside was a framed photo of the two of us from years ago and a card with a handwritten note. I miss you. Please come home. I called the police immediately. They took a statement, photographed the package, and filed a report. A court date was set for contempt of the restraining order. The hearing was faster this time. The evidence was clear. Her handwriting, my address, the postmark dated within the protection period. The judge fined her $750 and warned that any future violation would result in jail time. The restraining order was extended another year. My brother started feeling the consequences around this time. I heard through my cousin that he was expected to manage things I used to handle, helping my mother with tech issues, driving her to appointments, being available for her emotional needs. He resented it, complained constantly. He sent another message, this time directly to a mutual friend who immediately forwarded it to me. I can't do this anymore. She calls me every day. She won't stop talking about me. I didn't sign up for this. The irony was thick. He'd spent years benefiting from my labor, my accommodation, my silence. Now that he was expected to provide a fraction of it, he was drowning. I didn't feel sorry for him. People in our extended family started asking questions. My mother couldn't explain my absence without admitting to the restraining order. She tried vague references to a disagreement, but the gaps were too obvious. Eventually, someone asked my cousin directly. She told the truth. The story spread quietly but thoroughly. My mother's reputation shifted, not ruined. She still had her defenders, but tarnished. People looked at her differently, wondered what she'd done to make her own daughter take legal action. The system worked, slowly, imperfectly, but it worked. 2 years after the restraining order was issued, I learned through my cousin that my mother had a health scare. Nothing life-threatening, but enough to require follow-up care, multiple appointments, someone to help manage medications. My brother tried, for about 2 weeks. Then he started calling family members, asking if anyone else could step in. No one could or would. They had their own lives, their own responsibilities. He called me. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. I know you don't want to talk to me. I get it. But she needs help, and I can't. I don't know how to do this. Please. I deleted it. My cousin told me later that he'd struggled through it. Barely. Missed work. Snapped at our mother when she criticized his efforts. Their relationship already strained, frayed further. She'd built her life around a competent child and a compliant one. When the competent one left, the compliant one couldn't fill the gap. I didn't wish her harm. I just stopped preventing natural consequences. Family gatherings became uncomfortable for everyone involved. My mother couldn't explain where I was. My brother looked exhausted and resentful. People who'd sided with her initially started to reconsider when they saw the long-term fallout. One aunt, who'd lectured me about forgiveness early on, quietly asked my cousin if I was doing okay. My cousin said I was. Thriving, actually. The aunt didn't respond, but the question itself was an admission. The restraining order expired after 3 years total. I didn't resume contact. Didn't need to. The boundary was internalized by then, maintained not by law but by choice. My brother's life stagnated. Still living in the same town, still working the same job, still enmeshed with our mother in a way that prevented him from building anything independent. His relationships failed. He blamed me for that too, according to mutual acquaintances. I felt a distant sort of sadness about it. Not regret, just the recognition that he'd chosen this, over and over, and now he was living with it. 3 years after the slap that started it all, I got a promotion. The kind that comes with a title change, a significant raise, and a corner office. It wasn't because of what happened with my family. It was because I was good at my job, reliable, strategic. But the timing felt significant. That original appointment, the one my mother demanded I cancel, had been the beginning of taking my health seriously. The endocrinologist had helped me manage a condition that, untreated, would have worsened over time. I had energy now, clarity. I felt better than I had in years. I made new friends, deepened old friendships, started dating someone who didn't understand why I'd ever tolerated being treated the way my family had treated me. "Why did you put up with it for so long?" they asked once. "I didn't know I had a choice," I said. It was the truth. I saw my mother once, from a distance, in a grocery store. She was in the pharmacy section, reading the label on a medication bottle. She looked older, smaller somehow. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness. Just a vague recognition, like seeing a stranger who reminded me of someone I used to know. I turned down a different aisle and finished my shopping. Later, I volunteered with an organization that helped people navigate family court processes. I didn't share my story publicly, but I helped others build their cases, organize their evidence, understand their rights. I saw myself in a lot of them. The guilt, the confusion, the belief that setting a boundary made them the villain. I told them what someone once told me. You're not required to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. One woman, after her restraining order was granted, asked me if it ever stopped hurting. "Yes," I said, "but not the way you think. You don't stop caring, you just start caring about yourself more." She nodded. I saw the exact moment it clicked. 5 years after everything fell apart, I attended a work event, a celebration for a major project completion. My team was there, my partner, friends I'd made in the years since I'd started building a life on my own terms. Someone took a group photo. I was in the center, laughing at something someone had said, surrounded by people who'd chosen to be there. People I'd chosen too. I posted it online without thinking much of it. The next day, my cousin texted me, "Your mom saw the photo. She cried." I didn't ask how my cousin knew, didn't ask what my mother said. I just replied, "Okay," because it was. It was okay that she saw me thriving, okay that it hurt her, okay that I didn't feel responsible for managing her emotions anymore. The price she paid was losing a relationship with someone who would have been there for her if she'd ever treated me like I mattered. The price my brother paid was stagnation, resentment, and a life built around someone else's needs instead of his own. The price I paid was the illusion of family. But what I gained was something I didn't know I was missing: peace. Some days, I still think about what a real mother might have been like. Someone who celebrated my boundaries instead of punishing them. Someone who saw my success and felt pride instead of loss. Someone who understood that love isn't control. Most days, I don't. I have a life now that's entirely my own, built by my choices, sustained by my effort, shared with people who see me clearly and choose me anyway. That's not revenge. That's just living well. And it turns out that's more than enough.